Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a metal nut from a spline. So we're going to start off with an end gun and make sure I have my snaps on my grid point. Snap it to the center. Okay, turn my snaps off. So that's a simple spline. And then what we're going to do is add an edit spline to that. So that was an end gun, which I can set however many sides, and a metal nut has 6 sides. So the default was correct. But what I have is a set of points around the edge, and I actually need a point in the center of each one of these. And so what I can do is to go in and pick these edges, and then I go down here and hit divide, and then it's going to put a point in the center of each one of those, and that's going to help us when we're wanting to get the edges of the nut to kind of bow a little bit. So we're going to put an extrude on this to give it some height. And we'll give it maybe something like about that. And let's get me a normal shader on there. Okay, so now I want to edit this, and I'm going to go edit poly. Let's go to the top view, zoom in on it, and then what I want to do is to get the corner points, and then we want to bow those down a little bit. So we're just going to pull them down. Now I'm only worrying about the top because I'm going to symmetry this so that I'm not paying attention to the bottom. So we're just giving this so it has a little bit of a bow to it, which nuts have that. Okay, then what I want to do is to come in here and I'm going to cut this. So what I want to do is go to my cut. I want to make sure I have my snap to vertex on. And then I'm going to cut across these to those center points, like so. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to come in here and put a swift loop around these edges. So something about like this on these top edges. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to have it so that let's get this last one in here, so that these edges right here round a little bit. So I want a quad on that edge. Okay, that's looking pretty good. We can go ahead for a minute here and drop a subdivision on there, whatever flavor of subdivision. And it's going to kind of crunch the bottom, but we don't really care. And that's looking pretty good on the top. So actually, you know, we can actually go in here and what we want to do is to cut the top now. We want to cut the hole that's going to be in it. So I'm going to go to the top, and that all looks good. All right, so what I'm going to do is draw a spline on the top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and create an end gun. And what I'm going to do is hit this button right here, Auto Grid. Now what Auto Grid does, it allows me when I draw something, it's going to allow me to draw on the surface. So I can click and just drag this out. I'm still going to need to align it just to make sure it's in the center. So I don't want to align it on the Z so it goes up and down, only on the X and Y to make sure this is centered. And then I'm going to change it from the 6 sides to the 12 sides. And then I can adjust the size of the hole, maybe something about like that. And that works pretty good. And then I'm going to turn my snap off, and then I'm just going to raise it up just a little bit so it's not sitting on the surface, which will make it my life easier. So now I'm going to go to the top view, and now I'm going to use that as my template to cut a hole in this. So back onto this edit poly, we do cut, turn our snap on, make sure the snap is on vertex, and then we're going to cut everywhere that we have a point on this spline. Okay, then right click to stop that. Then we can turn that end-gun off now. We don't need it to see it. And then we want to pick these and delete them. We can actually pick that bottom one and delete it too. We don't need it. Okay, so then what we're going to want to do is to come in and select this border edge, hold down my shift key, and pull it straight down. Make sure you don't have a snap on when you do this, because it'll want to pull it sideways. Okay, all right, so now what we got to do is we got to cut these points in here, these parts, so that they have, so that they're quads. So we want to cut this. Be sure you have your snap on for this. So each one of those will cut. That'll give that quads. So we keep everything quads where we have no end-guns. Okay, so that looks good. Right click to stop. So now we want to go in here and double click this edge, and we're going to do a chamfer on it. And something like this, and we're going to want this set to 1 so it doesn't bow, and we'll want to give it something that's similar to this size out here. Now it really doesn't matter that this doesn't go straight across, it's not going to hurt what we're doing. So we'll set that in, deselect, and now that's going to look pretty good. Okay, so we just need to get our symmetry in here now. So we put our symmetry, and we'll want it on the Z. Then we'll want to open up our mirror so we can move it up. Turn your snap off, and then we'll move that up to get our piece the thickness that we want. Okay, then we're going to want to put another edit poly on this, and the reason we want that is we want to get rid of that line that's in the center. So just control backspace. Okay, turn that off. Move your mesh smooth up to the top. Should be on the top. And then we want a couple of iterations. And then we're going to have a nice nut. So what we're going to do now to tighten it up a little bit, all we have to do now is come in and put some swift loop around our edges like so. And that will tighten it up. And now we'll have a really nice nut. And that's how you can build a nut from splines. Okay. Hope that helps you guys. Thank you very much.